Right, so let's spend 30 seconds looking at your partner's face, and in your head, think of all the colours that you can see, and then we'll talk out loud about what colours you can find. In the shadows of his eye socket, I can see green, very dark greens right in the corner of his eye socket. Underneath, I can see bits of really beautiful purple colours. He's got really dark black eyes, and then I can see the pinks of his lips and some very small hints of orange.
Down here,
yeah,
it is.
Yeah, what was
it? Like a bit dark brown too.
Yeah. Any other colours than dark brown? No, you just saw dark brown. What did you say?
I think a bit of like a lighter brown.
Yeah. Look at her lips. Look at her lips. Yeah, pink. Okay, light brown, pink.
I saw green and centered eye, and then I saw her lips which are pink, and then I saw her eyebrows which are brown.
So as you can see, sometimes when you think you're going to draw a portrait of somebody of colour who's brown or black, you might initially think it's just brown, but the closer you look, the more different colours you'll see in their faces, and you'll see that when we look at the exhibition. This portrait is of Thomas Anson. Yeah, so he lived in Dent. Thomas Anson was owned by the Sill family, so he worked on the farm. He wasn't paid any wages. And one night he decided to escape from that farm, so he ran away. We don't know how he ran away, but we know he ran away because there was a runaway advert for him in one of the newspapers. Another researcher called Audrey Dewey, she managed to find a tiny piece of information in London which showed that Thomas Anson had made his way from Dent in Yorkshire all the way down to London. He wasn't captured, and he was able to get a job in the army, and he was a trumpeter. So he had a job in the army. So 2 years after escaping, he was working for the army in the 4th Dragoons, and he worked there till he was 30, and then unfortunately he broke a tooth. So he couldn't play the trumpet anymore. But even though it's only a tiny bit of information, is to bring their stories to life by painting how I imagined him to be. So you might imagine him to look totally different. But by having a portrait, we can kind of celebrate and remember his life, and for you to think about what happened to him.
Are there any responses or phrases that children have said that you thought, yes?
There was a conversation in this room that some of the kids had with the facilitator, with Geraldine, about reparations, and I was amazed at the kind of complexity that the children understood, that they really got hold of this subject and talked about it, as well as any group of adults would. You know, people have got different opinions, but they all were, you know, caring towards each other when they're discussing it. And I think that I found that really, you know, very important. I found that moving, that the children would discuss it in such a way, and that really we shouldn't hide these subjects away and think they're too awful for kids, because obviously you have to do it in a sensitive, appropriate way, but actually children do understand a lot of it.
We've had a wonderful time looking at the exhibition, haven't we? And I'm just interested about what you've really enjoyed about coming and seeing the portraits today.
I enjoyed learning about Black history and the connections that they had in the olden days and how it affects us today.
My favourite picture was about Frances Elizabeth Johnson when they took off a hand and then they put it in the house and remembrance.
That's a very powerful story, isn't it?
I've enjoyed learning that art is the amount of effort that goes into art. It's not just picking up a pencil and start drawing. You need to plan it out, start doing all these things, research. And it's really, really, really good that what happens with it, so that the backstory and everything about it.
I enjoyed looking at all the different art pieces and how they are different and the same.
Is there something that you've learnt today that you didn't know before you came here?
Well, enslaved means that they were forced to do it, and slaved means they had a choice to do it.
And in terms of the people we've seen today, did they have a choice?
if they have a choice.
Even if you're really young, you can make changes. Like, if you don't want to do it, like Ela boy did, he was enslaved. He didn't want to be enslaved, so he ran away for freedom.
So that actually you can have power and you can make changes. If you were talking to other students in other schools and you were to talk about this exhibition, what would you say to them to encourage them to come and see this work?
They're really good artwork and you can learn more about Black history if you're interested.
If you'd like to know more about the history of Lancaster and what the African slaves had to do with it, the museum is a perfect place to go.